Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And a great Saturday morning. Thank you for being here today. And welcome to our series of More Than Just Money series, a series for anything that is Islamic finance related. Let me firstly introduce myself. My name is Nurul Iman, and I'll be your host for today. Islamic Finance at Singapore, or IFSG, is a community of scholars, finance professionals, and students in Islamic finance. What started as a WhatsApp group has now become a society in the making with a long-term goal to serve the Singaporean community through Islamic finance. Today, I'm honored to share this platform with Mr. Marc, Dr. Abdul Malik, and Mr. Zul with today's topic, financing for halal industry. Dr. Abdul Malik Hassan launched Crave to expand his family's Nasi Lemak business. Prior to this, he had taken over his father's Selera Rasa stall at Adam Road 18 years back. Currently, Crave has expanded to 45 branches in Singapore with a further 3 branches underway. Beside Crave, Dr. Malik also started Kakis, a mini food court featuring halal vendors. He's also a part of Kiosk Collective. Dr. Malik earned his doctorate on business studies in 2019 from International Business Federation. In 2021, Dr. Malik was among the top 10 finalists in the Straits Times Singaporean of the Year. The aspiring pilot and entrepreneur also hosts monthly discussion with other entrepreneurs to help them in their businesses. Mr. Marc Leong. Mr. Marc has been with the banking industry for over 20 years. He has extensive management and leadership in enterprises in areas such as consumers finance, SME banking, account management, wealth management, marketing and alliance strategies, etc. Over the last decade, Mr. Marc was instrumental in pioneering and building Maybank's consumer mortgage and retail loans portfolio to a top 5 position in Singapore. Mr. Marc currently helms SME banking and has delivered strong growth in areas like loans, deposit, business wealth, and cash management. Mr. Zulkarnien, is a head Islamic banking and senior vice president at Maybank Singapore since 2019. Armed with 11 years of experience in Islamic finance pillars at Maybank, Mr. Zulkarnien oversees the business strategy, development, and adaptations of Islamic banking products and services. Mr. Zulkarnien holds a master's in business administration, specializing in finance, and bachelor degree in real estate management from University of Malaya, Malaysia. With over 15 years of professional experience, he has held various roles involving strategic planning, transformation initiative, product development, structuring portfolios, commercials, corporates, and institutional clients in domestic and regional markets. So welcome, Dr. Malik, Mr. Marc, and Mr. Zul to today's morning, Saturday morning with us. And thank you everyone for tuning with us. All right, let's get the ball rolling with the first question for our first panelist, Dr. Malik. All right, so first thing first, Mr. Malik. Dr. Malik, Selera Rasa started back in 1998 after the Sultan of Brunei suggested to your father to open a stall. Even though the history goes back further, you took over 18 years. What are the 3 business lessons you learned helming the cockpit of Selera Rasa, Crave, and Kakis? Dr. Malik, please.
Okay, the first lesson that I learned is when we open Selera Rasa, we don't know anything. We are just like kacang putih, business person. We don't have any finance. My dad used the money to open the shop by using whatever when he sell his house. Then he just just invest on that. Me, I got my retrenched money because I got retrenched. So I don't believe in at that time, I don't believe in have a relationship with bank because sorry, Marc, because I always believe that if I took a loan from bank, it would be like, wow, there's a lot of things to do, accounting. That is called the hawker kind of mentality, last time. So that's the part of the lesson that I learned when I consider I upgrade myself to Crave. Then I realized that we need to have relationship with banks. So So that's the part when I coincidentally I'm with Maybank. My I met a guy who is from Maybank, and then I went to a lot of banks. Then I realized that Maybank did a good job in servicing. Not trying to uncut you guys, but I'm just trying to say that. But so it started from there. Then we grow from there. Then from actually basically relationship is very important in, and that's what I learned from my opening here. That's all.
So thank you, Dr. Malik. So it's more towards not having the hawker mentality. Today we learn a new word, hawker mentality, where we are scared to go to bank to do our financing, and second, to take care of the relationship in doing businesses. Yeah. All right. So next question, Dr. Malik. All right. So as the co-owner of Crave, which has 45 kiosks, with a further 3 coming up, 2 selera rasa stall and 1 Kakis, which is a mini food court, surely you have had a resort to financing, as you mentioned, right? So you did mention in a separate interview that you had to sell your wife bags just to keep afloat. Could you share with us your experience in seeking finance? And just now you mentioned about retrenchment, etc. It must be a very hard time at those moments. Could you share with us? We would love to hear from you, Dr. Malik.
Okay, that time was when I was about to open Crave. I don't have any income because I don't want to use the amount of money that I have at Adam Road. So I open my own. I tell my brothers that, okay, keep whatever amount of money there, I will handle myself. So I thought that my investor is from my partner itself. My partner, because they open Peso, so they have some money on the part. Then they just dump the money to Crave. So I thought that I'm okay. I don't need any money. But then I realized that I need to open a central kitchen. I need to have my van to do delivery. I need to have a lot of things. That part also I think I did. I'm very ignorant. I don't know anything about finance that time also. So I sold my car. I sold like I told you, I sold the bags. Actually, I didn't expect that, and I nearly I didn't pay my HDB house for 3 months, just to sacrifice myself for that 10 months. Yeah. So then if I realize that, if let's say the relationship between me and the bank is very close, means it can reduce my stress at that part, you know what I mean? So that's one of the lessons that I learned from banking. I went to talk to my banker. This is what they told me, everything. So why don't you do this kind of thing? Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Malik. Now to Mr. Marc. All right. So while Maybank SME has a nearly 20% share on all micro businesses and SMEs in Singapore, but the bank are notorious for having high barriers for SMEs to access financing. Is this perception true? Will it be hard for SMEs to apply for financings? And that's the reason also, Mr. Marc, why Dr. Malik mentioned about this hawker mentality. People are scared, you know, despite the burden that they are having to sustain their business or growing or wanting to actually open up or etc. about business, they have this fear. So what do you think, Mr. Marc?
Thanks, Iman. So good morning, one and all. This is a very nice open question. I like the way you started. Just as borrowers or customers fear going to the bank, we also fear lending actually sometimes. No? So I just want to put into perspective. I think generally speaking, it's not the bank is the banks are not notorious or just you know, a little bit difficult. I hope that Dr. Malik's experience, I'm not sure, because I have not met him in his earlier years, when he was his longer hair and everything. So together. So what happens that I think, we put things in perspective, banking, in its traditional sense, right? When we talk about financing, we are funding customers or companies that are on the growth stage, right? So that means, in short term, in simple terms, means generally after 1 to 2 years or track record, about 2 years, generally speaking, we tend to come to the bank, because that time you have 2 years of track record, of operating track record, right? Business track record. Come to us, then you have financials, you have active bank statements, right? You have got cash flows. Then come to us, we analyze it with our own little credit scoring models, and we grant you the financing that you kind of are looking at. And as Dr Malik rightly pointed out, a good banker should be talking and say, hey, look, what are the things that we need and we can do together? Is it short-term, long-term working capital? Is it collateralized? That means the assets to pledge or no assets to pledge? Is it going to be a simple product, or is it going to be a very sophisticated kind of loan, right? Now, so what happens to customers who are, or businesses who are less than 2 years old, right? So this is the perception that banks can help. Right now, most of the banks, including Maybank, our tools, our credit assessment models, we don't really cater. We are not really that strong in catering to this group, although many banks have started to do it already. So let me just explain a little bit. So the 24 months of incubation period, right? A lot to do with customers trying to grow their business, and that's where you find venture capital, right? You find private equity, you find angel investors, you even find family and friends, like what Dr. Malik pointed out, to kind of help out in this stage. And the emergence of some of those alternative lending platforms also very, very helpful. So, but having said that, to cut the long story short, the banks, including me, are moving towards closer to the startup period. We have a program called the YES program, Young Entrepreneurial Scheme, that we're trying to give. As long as you got 6 months track record, we are able to give you at least a business credit card. And I know of some local banks as well, about 6 months, 1 year track record, they can give a small micro loan as well. So we are improving. We're not there yet, but we're improving. But at the same time, there are options available if the customers or businesses look at the right direction. Yeah. So I hope that gives you a bit of a sense of that we are not so notorious lah. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Marc, for the explanation. Now we have just know that bank have actually opened up their options to YSMEs, so young SMEs, those that are 6 months, the newbies. Okay, so hence microfunding. Mr. Marc, the next question. Okay, other finance providers have sprouted to offer, like you mentioned, right? Like we have the venture capital, we have the friends and families and other sources. So this includes the peer-to-peer crowdfunding and etc. On this basis, what are the advantages of businesses that opt for bank financings and not other alternative means?
I think there is no advantage. I think, in fact, it is an advantage to do everything if you can. I know of many customers or even borrowers that I've served, right? They have both, they have got, they're already mature companies, more than 2 years, more than 3 years, more than 5 years, because some of their lending capacity from the banks are already full, right? They've used up most of the lines. So they have moved on to actually seek requests from peer-to-peer lenders, from crowdfundings, from alternative lenders who do invoice financing, short-term project financing, short-term term loans, right? So when you're young, when a company is young, it's okay to seek all this alternative financing from the digital space, right? We got the peer-to-peer, the crowdfunding, the invoice financing guys. Work out a good track record of payments, because normally these terms are 3 months, 6 months kind of repayment terms, short term, which is great. Then you give that sense of discipline as well, that you are paying, right? And that's why do not constrict yourself towards funding. But of course, consider also the pricing. Right, generally speaking, because the company is younger, the track record is shorter, or should I say no track record, right? And therefore, you go to the alternative lenders, they will have a bit more higher pricing, of course, right? Because banks have a larger deposit base, our loan pricings are lower. The alternative lenders are pricing higher because the funding is a bit different structure. But when you can, if you can, whether it's 6 months, 1 year, you can graduate from the alternative lenders and move on to banks. Start the banking relationship as soon as possible. And to Dr. Malik's point as well, and maybe Zul can also share later on, it's not about just lending per se. Banks actually have a whole range of services, yeah. Lending is just one major aspect we do. Another major aspect is actually deposits, right? You start with that account. Another, within the deposit space, there is cash management, things like payroll, your staff payroll, right? Your payments, your pay now, your your gyros, what do you call it? Your merchant terminals with the cards, right? So all these are very important. We also have digital services. So get involved with the bank from early stage. So even at the hawker level, we can open an account, right? And then bank will have the coin counting services, the cash deposit machine. So get yourself involved with the bank from the very, very get-go. And then you build a nice track record, right? And within, frankly speaking, with a nice track record, even 6 months, the banker may consider doing something with you because your business is flushing with liquidity in and out. So we like to see that in. It's not all in. We like in and out. That means it's activity. And I think most banks will be very happy to kind of jump in to help out with a small loan first for a start. So yeah. So in other words, the answer is that try everything. Don't give up. Try everything, and then later on, as the company gets bigger, then you choose the 2 or 3 bankers to be your main operating bank.
Right, thank you so much, Mr. Mark, for the detailed explanation. I like it when you say bank is not just for lending. Okay, bank is more than just lending. There's a lot of things. And yep. So let's get back to Dr. Malik. Dr. Malik, you can be said to be the veteran in F&B entrepreneurship space. When it comes to financing for your business needs, what has been your go-to option and how was your experience?
I like Mark, the one that you told us that you try whatever you want to do, you try. That's what we did. Then at the end, so once you go big, then you just go to the bank. So actually we are going towards that direction. I think I will meet you, Mark, soon. Because we finance is you when you grow, it doesn't mean that you grow it doesn't mean you grow your business, you grow how do you call it, you grow more income. You grow, it's more that you park, we call it in F&B words, you call it we park our money. Means when we grow, like what we all do is we scale our outlet, we scale our business. So that's why we got like 3 outlets, then we take our profit, we open to the 4th outlet, so we scale it. So you can't see the money yet. So that's how Crave is doing it, and that's how we're going towards the kakis, and we might go into the overseas part. So that's the part when we need that scaling part money. So until we go to the limit, so we can't really roll the money yet. Then we're going to find Mark. That's how we are doing that financing part. Yeah.
So Dr. Malik, means in business, when we talk about profit, when we talk about growth, it's not like we see the profit. Like, yeah, okay, this profit this month or this year, we have this certain amount, or this is growth. No, but instead growth is when you can use the money from that specific A, for example, A, B, C, and then we keep rolling it. The movement of rolling and generating the growth from there is what we call as growth businesses, instead of just calculating our profit.
That's right. So you don't see, it's like I said, the hawker mentality is, today I earn 1,000, I pay everybody, so I got like $200. Oh, my profit. That's what my mentality last time had.
Yeah.
So now we don't have that kind of mentality anymore. So we have like, we go by per month. Then from that, we receive per month. Oh, that's my profit. Now no more really. So from there, we see our profit. When we roll our money to another outlet, outlet, that is the growth. When you see the growth of the company, you can see that is your asset, that they call it, the asset of the company. Yes.
I want to jump in a little bit here. So I would Dr. Malik's point. So very good, Dr. Malik. So what you're doing is actually you are using your retained profits to kind of grow it. So this is the kind of mentality that we like from a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, you are not like what Dr. Malik said. He's not taking the money and say, okay, pocket profit.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that. Now we have a group of entrepreneurs like himself to take money and grow. So we really like this. All right, and so that's why Dr. Malik, once we have a certain scale, that first shop, second shop, right? We have banks should be very happy. Not just Maybank. I'm happy to work with you anytime. But from your first store, second store, I'm happy to work. You don't have to go into 45th store, then plus 3. Yeah. So I'm happy to work. So like this, with us coming in, I think the stress on the liquidity would be elevated, no? If we come in with a certain working capital. That's why I mentioned earlier on, whether it's short term, long term. If it's an investment to a new shop, a new business, a new setup or branches, then that's going to be a bit longer term. So we like that. We want to be able to give you that, so that your retained profits from your earlier shops, right, literally can be a buffer. right? In any winning situation. I mean, we've seen the last 2 years, right? We've got this COVID and shops and everything. So it's scary like crazy.
Yeah.
So I always say to many customers, come to me when you have money. That's the difficult part now. Wow, the people don't understand. Come, I got money, come to you. I got money, I don't need money, ma. I don't need the bank. Precisely that's the opposite. When you have money, come to me because I give you a line, right? And then you double your liquidity. Whatever it is, 100K become 200,000, 1 million become 2 million, we double it. And then you have that cash, you can decide what you want to do with it. Some lines you can draw down immediately. There's interest charge. Some say, no need, Mark, I want to stand by. Whatever standby, you want to draw down immediately, you want to have trade lines, we can always talk about it to structure it according to the client's wishes. But come to the bank, for Dr. Malik as well as all the entrepreneurs who are listening in, come to the bank when you have some cash. Then we double it, triple it. That will keep you going a long time. So I want to encourage all to have that mentality. It's not and the bank lending, frankly, is still in Singapore context very cheap compared to the rest of the world and compared to even raising your money by diluting your equity, right? So these are the things I want to just add a little bit. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with the bank lending. Yes, the interest in Singapore is quite reasonable. Yes,
it's very reasonable.
Yes, yeah. Mark, can I ask you a question of a few, because I have a lot of mentees. Some of them they are less than 6 months, but they are doing business on their sole proprietor, but then they have they on a private. They haven't go to private limited. They just make it to private limited for 1 month, and then they want to get a loan to upgrade their business.
Yeah. So
how can they have the loan part? Is that okay?
So we look at the entity. So the entity private limited is only just 1 or 2 months or 3 months old, right? So if the business is viable, then we will have to look at. So these are, of course, when you score it, it won't be very nice lah. So we have to look into account, take into account the sole prop days lah. Right? We factor in everything because I think they're migrating from the sole prop business to private limited, or they're slowly migrating. So we have to look at it holistically. I have to admit it's not so straightforward. The bank officer have to relook at it, and when you write the credit paper, have to talk about the past. So same thing, we will not dishonor the past track record. Whatever sole prop, we will take it in because we have many customers like that. I've been in business for 30 years. I said, yeah, but your private limited only 1 year. But the last 29 years is sole prop, ma. So we have a very similar situation, but we are open to talk about it to see how viable it is to do something together a little bit. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Malik, and thank you so much, Mr. Mark. All right, so let's hear from Mr. Zul. All right, Mr. Zul, Maybank is among the few who champions Islamic financing in Singapore and has a comprehensive suite of Sharia compliant facilities for SMEs. What makes Islamic financing for SME different to traditional financing for SMEs by Maybank? Is it simply the cost of financing, Mr. Zul?
Thank you, Iman, for your questions. Before I answer your question, very interesting story shared by Dr. Malik. You have to be broke in order to appreciate rich, and I'm sure he has paid back his wife with more than one luxury handbag. I hope so. Now, your questions are the difference between the Sharia compliant SME facilities versus a conventional equivalent. Let me start. Talk about the objective before sharing the disparities. The main objective of Sharia-compliant financial facilities, specifically SME facilities, the purpose is basically to meet client financial objective, which eventually to grow economy as a whole. So regardless which sector, Sharia-compliant, the intention is basically to journey with customers of multiple segments towards meeting the objective. Now, what are the differences between Sharia compliant SME facilities versus conventional SME facilities? Sharia contract is the fundamental base of how we structure Sharia compliant facilities. There isn't any conventional. So Sharia versus conventional. The conventional facilities is based on interest. So interest is the subject matter. But for Sharia as compliant SME facilities, Sharia contract is the subject matter. Now, the product services transaction of these SME facilities, we specifically stipulate the principle of the Sharia contract, the operationalization of this contract, the terms and condition. So in short, is to protect SME client as well as to protect lender, banks, as well as to protect other parties involved in the facilities. Now, you mentioned earlier in your question, you mentioned about the pricing. Our go-to-market strategy, the cost, right? Now, the cost and pricing for Sharia compliant facilities versus conventional. At Maybank Singapore, our approach is similar. I mean, what we price for our Sharia compliant equals to the conventional equivalent. But we are also offering on tactical basis, as and when we think that we should give more incentive discount to motivate client to subscribe our Sharia compliant facilities, we may be able to do so. Now, fundamentally, Sharia contract is one of the different. Second point, commercial features, legal contract, documentation, correspondent, pricing, credit matters, securities within the facilities, regardless conventional Islamic, they are neutral in nature. So last point I want to make, to SME, existing and potential client, wanting to know about Sharia compliance, not worry so much that the only difference is the Sharia contract. And this Sharia contract is in favor of SME client. The Sharia contract, which we develop the designated product, depending on the purpose of what SME client wants, have added value. So at Maybank Singapore, when we offer SME Sharia compliant facilities, the number one objective is to ensure that the customer will obtain added values. It will not be worse off. I hope I answer your question.
Right, thank you so much, Mr. Zul. So here we understand that the Sharia contract is the main difference, we could say, from the normal SME, and definitely the main purpose is to actually add value towards the entrepreneurs' businesses that they have. And this in result to actually growing our economy in a whole.
You're right.
So next question, Mr. Zul, to add on to that part, all right, are there any specific Sharia requirement, okay, that the business has to comply with before it can apply for Islamic financing for SMEs?
Okay. Following from my point I mentioned earlier, Sharia contract, right? Sharia contract is the documentation that we have for SME client. That include from the application form to the letter of offer and the archive, so on and so forth. So in order for us to start lending facilities for SME client wanting to have Sharia compliant, we do have a set of Sharia screening checklists, SSC. Sharia screening checklist endorsed by our independent Sharia advisors, which consists of Sharia scholars from Singapore. Ustaz Kamal is the guy. I think everybody knows Ustaz Kamal. We have also Sharia scholars from Indonesia, Malaysia. So they are Sharia experts who have mandate from the Central Bank of Malaysia to endorse Sharia compliant SME facilities for Maybank Singapore to offer. We also receive concurrent consent from Central Bank of Singapore in order for us to make the Sharia compliant facilities available in the market. Now, Sharia screening checklist, we have three pillars. First pillar is the approved list, approved sector, acceptable sector. What are the acceptable sectors? I can tell you almost all industries in Singapore, telecommunication sectors, utility sectors, so on and so on. These are 100% Sharia compliant because in natural they are Sharia compliant.
Yeah.
The second pillar is the escalation list. What does this escalation means? Meaning that SME client has a mixed business of Sharia compliant and non-Sharia compliant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it is really not a no, outright no, if any SME client has a mix of non-Sharia compliant and Sharia compliant.
Yeah.
We do have a threshold. Who set the threshold? Is the Sharia advisors. This threshold set by Sharia advisors is basically derived from international standard that been using globally. So the 30%, 1/3 of the business is allowed to be non-Sharia compliant. Meaning that if you have Sharia compliant business revenue and income more than 2/3, another remaining less than 1/3, you are still deemed Sharia compliant. Okay, that is the second pillar in the Sharia screening checklist. Now the third pillar, the final one, is the no-no sector. And what are the no-no sector? The outright reject is the gambling sector, speculative sectors, alcohol, tobaccos, machinery, and other non-acceptable sectors. So we do have the list. So the list we provide to our frontliners in order for our SME frontliners to script and tell client whether their nature of business is Sharia compliant or not. Once you pass that Sharia compliant checklist, we will structure to type of facilities that you want, either term financing or revolving loan, revolving facility, or working capital, or Islamic deposit, so and so.
So, Mrs. Zul, in conclusion, I could say that financing for SMEs is actually applicable for everyone as long it is according to the benchmark of the benchmark of the Sharia fundamentals of the nature of the business. The nature of the business must be according to the Sharia fundamentals that has already been placed by the Sharia advisory according to the Sharia screening, right?
Yeah.
So the nature of the business itself that will be checked and will go through screening. And as you mentioned, there's these three types of the approved sector, the accelerations, and also the no, right? Okay, so that's interesting. So actually, it's an easy thing. There's no much of criteria that we need to really take note if we want to be in the Islamic financing SMEs. It's actually just that the screening of the nature of the business itself. Next, Mrs. Zul. All right, Singapore has been a surprising performer in the Global Islamic Economy Indicator Index. In fact, this little red dot ranks second in halal food segment with 4,300 halal certified premises in 2019. How is Maybank capitalizing on the growth of the halal market in Singapore? Mr. Zul, please.
Yeah. Despite we are a small country, but we have great ecosystem, and that's the reason why Singapore ranks second in the world in terms of halal food.
Yes.
It's impressive. Malaysia, our neighbors, Malaysia and Indonesia, they are below us. So we do have added advantage because we do have system, we do have ecosystem, and it is an integrated as a system from MUIS and the halal certified, MUIS Waris Halal, and the players as well. So how do we capitalize? How do we benefit, or rather, how does Maybank take and play our role in order for us to scale up this ecosystem? We have actually signed an agreement as a partner with MUIS Waris Halal. Because we had discussion with MUIS, and we both agreed, MUIS Waris Halal, that Maybank and MUIS Waris Halal, we both have common objective. It's basically to make this halal industry in Singapore into the mainstream, right? And halal industry, it should be associated with Islamic finance because both carry overlaps in terms of values. But currently, there isn't any compulsion or law awareness about the motivation for halal, the 4,300 companies in Singapore to subscribe Sharia compliant. So this is not just in Singapore context, despite in Malaysia, Indonesia, in other Muslim countries who has substantial halal industry size and players, right? Islamic finance is not going in parallel with them.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we are trying to do here is to move the two industries going forward.
This is how we can go faster, bigger, and actually help a lot of people economically through Islamic finance. When like bank and also the Muiz Waris is working together, it's not just bank walking alone, and not it's just Muiz Waris walking alone. Two, right?
You are right. So because I think there is still low awareness about the halal certification itself. It is not just no pork, no lard, you see.
Yeah.
The halal certificate is basically the quality of the food preparation, and then serve to the customer. This halal certificate as well ensure that the end-to-end, the people run the business has to meet certain standard. That halal certification is not just the 15% of Muslim of Singaporean. It meant for all. Non-Muslim also went to McDonald's, KFC in Singapore. They are halal franchise, right?
Yeah.
Non-Muslim also enjoy halal food.
Yeah.
Because it is not about the taste and the delicious, it's the quality. I impressed when I went to, I visited many halal restaurants in Singapore. The way how they position the premise and the presentation of the food and services is world class. I must say that. So back to the point that we had secured relationship with a partnership with Muiz Waris Halal, and we have a blast communication to 4,000 members of Muiz Waris Halal, the 4,000 companies, for them to reach Maybank, Singapore.
It's a great success. It's something that we need to congratulate Muiz for having that. Congratulate Maybank for having this type of partnership with Waris Muiz.
So first step is we are creating awareness. So we tell them we have shariah compliant product for them to grow in the business, to acquire asset, to expand the operation. One, Maybank Singapore, we have also Muslim database. So this is where adding value that if we are partnering with these 4,300 companies in Singapore, we can tell our own customer, Muslim, as well as non-Muslim, who like to have halal food. So these are adding value on top of just facilities which Marc mentioned earlier. We are not just giving you loans merely. We are not just giving deposit. We are bringing you our customer base. So we are going together. Now, these halal 4,300 halal certified companies in Singapore, they are micro and SME size, mostly.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two in the commercial are slightly higher than SME. None from corporate. Perhaps maybe corporate is the principal supplying all the food, but they are not really 100%. The point I want to make, what Marc and myself trying to do is to journey these 4,300 companies, perhaps maybe 3 to 5 potential SME companies, to grow from micro, SME, commercial, corporate, and perhaps eventually listed. You see? So Dr. Malik, great in cooking nasi lemak. Marc know the business. How do Marc and myself, we learn how to manage the finance of a business. So I think we should work together. So don't be afraid to come and approach banks. The reason why we put good-looking people like Marc and the team as a finalist to meet client, because we want them to be approachable, likable. You see. So they are putting me in the bank head office, but they put Marc outside there. Because these people will try to grow. I hope I answer your question. How do we capitalize and grow together with 4,300 halal companies? And in fact, me and Marc, we have in mind to give a special package for these 4,300 halal certified companies in Singapore.
I see. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Zul, for the detailed explanation from the Shariah screening to the understanding of what you have mentioned just now of how to integrate bank and also industry towards the growth of the economy. All right. Thank you so much once again to Mr. Zul. Next to Dr. Malik. All right. Truly being in the F&B industry, you know the potential of the halal food market. Granted, you advise your mentees to focus on the Singapore market. We know your partner who owns Pizzo, okay, has already pre-metered China, okay, but surely the lure of internalizations for Crave can't wait any longer. Brunei next, maybe, Dr. Malik?
Very good question. Actually, we wanted to go Malaysia 2020. 2019, 2020, yes, 2020. But because of COVID, we hold back. Yeah, so we are ready to go actually, but because of the COVID situation. So hopefully, now we're in talks with a few overseas vendors. So hopefully, if we can make it in 1 year, 2 years time, we are very careful. We are very careful because it's not easy to go overseas to open a shop, because what we do is when we're going to go overseas, we don't handle ourselves. We franchise to overseas vendors. Yeah, because we don't want to handle on ourselves. There's a very scary situation now in the world. Yeah, that's why. That's the reason. So fine. Yeah. I think that we are there already. We're going in 2 years time. 2 years time. That's the target. Yeah.
Right, just a bit add on, Dr. Malik. When we want to talk about franchising, right, what is also the important things that one need to actually remember when they are doing their financing? Because when we talk about internationalization, right, it's about different what we call it, like from Singapore dollar to ringgit, the currency is different, etc. So what need to be in mind? Because as you say, we need to take slow slab. It's not an easy thing.
Okay. There's a lot. Okay. Example, we ever did manage to go to Indonesia on our second year of Crave. So the money wise currency means Singapore and Indonesia is totally a different thing. So what we do is we go by US currency. So we discuss with them on the US currency, and they want to open 150 outlets there. So but tak jadi because of some situation. So basically, when you do franchise, what we believe is always deal with US currency or very simple stuff to handle it. And in terms of finance, we on the okay side, but we must be ready in terms of expanding our supplying part. Make sure we are ready. So whatever finance we have, we must be ready. If not ready, it will be a bit on the trouble side. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Malik. We pray for your success to venture out, okay, from Crave to Malaysia, to Indonesia, and also inshallah to Brunei one day, Dr. Malik.
Yes, Brunei.
Sorry, Iman,
yes.
if I may offer to Dr. Malik. Dr. Malik, as we are aware, Maybank has presence in the countries that you mentioned we trying to venture. So we are more than happy to connect you with our counterpart.
Okay.
They know the local context and supply chain within the countries that you like to venture. And for your kind information and also for audience information, we have successfully launched a Maybank Halal program recently, which we work with Halal Singapore. We brought about 20 halal product from Malaysia to Singapore. So it went well. The sales of the 20 product that's distributed at Halal is well accepted. So what me and Marc are trying to do here is basically to do the reverse, to bring Singapore halal product into our presence in Malaysia and Indonesia perhaps. Maybe let's start with Malaysia, because we call a Singapore-Malaysia Halal Corridor is our key agenda. Thanks.
And maybe just add a little bit more, Iman and Dr. Malik. So in terms of when you internationalize your business, I think you mentioned about US dollars, right? Even ringgit going forward, even some currencies. So I think this is where the bank can come in as well, because you want to lock in a favorable rate of exchange, right? So if you take this the board rate, everything on the tiering rates may not be as good. So that's why I think banks like us, we do have a team of FX specialists, right? Whether you are buying US or selling US, or ringgit, buy and sell. So we can advise, and we can not just advise, but we can give you a quote that it is, that's attractive so that when you convert the monies back into your local currency in Singapore, you get to enjoy a savings on your FX rate lah. Right? So these are the things that banks like us do as well, and safe. I know there are many fintech platforms out there, right? Okay, all the names I don't mention. All my friends on those platforms. I'm also quite active in the fintech space. But we do assure that it is bank to bank. Okay, it's not so it's bank to bank, and the money will arrive for sure. Who guarantees it? Maybank. So you have one of the largest banks in Southeast Asia, to kind of guarantee that payment. And the rate of exchange, we can always talk about it because I have a team, right? Just do full time doing FX services. So these are things that I think we can offer not just to large corporations, but within the SME space, we can help a little bit. Thanks.
And to add on that, we do have both conventional and Islamic hedging instrument. So we do have profit rate swap, cross currency swap in both conventional Islamic. I think that what make Maybank Singapore different with other bank established here. Thanks.
Right, thank you so much, Mr. Marc and Mr. Zul, for the explanation and detail. Like, wow, definitely. Like I remember Dr. Malik say, relationship is very important in doing business. I guess having a relationship with Maybank will open greater doors of opportunity for businesses, SMEs out there. Yeah. Okay, so let's move forward to Mr. Marc. All right, Mr. Marc, the government wants businesses to internationalize and has placed different grants for SMEs to internationalize, but 60% of local businesses, according to a recent survey by B Insurance, are unsure of having no plans to internationalize. So a further 53% even intend to downsize. Is this the time for SMEs to internationalize, and how does Maybank help its client to internationalize?
I'll say the word internationalize very cheap, huh?
Yes, internationalize.
Yeah, I know it's a mouthful.
All right, Mr. Marc.
Thanks a lot. So I think most of the businesses, I think I'll take a lead from Dr. Malik's sharing as well. A lot of the local businesses, the reason why they have those aspirations, and then after that they downgrade their aspirations, is because I think the local operations are not strong enough. So I think there's two dimensions to this question. Let me answer the first one first.
Okay.
So why they're weak? They're weak because I think a lot of them did not get their local house in order, right? Things of the capital structure, their loan structure, their personnel, even the business efficiency may not be the most efficient, right? So if you're not the most efficient at operating at your full capacity or optimal capacity, it's very challenging. You're really not at your best efficiency locally in Singapore when you have almost full control, right? What more if you go overseas, like what Dr. Malik said, is crazy. Indonesia, Malaysia is nuts, franchise and everything. So that's why I think over the last few years, the government has come in, through IMDA, to Enterprise Singapore, to introduce all the smart digital tools, right? So things like you digitize your accounting, you digitize your marketing. You digitize your accounting entries so that no longer need a bookkeeper, right? Debit credits, or push button, you can go in, even send invoices, you can go in, and straightforward. You have got marketing in the digital sense. Used to be spending, let's say, 100K for X number of commercials in the newspaper, right? Physical copy. These days, that 10K, 20K, 30K can work even harder, reaching to a bigger audience. And that's where digital marketing is very powerful. It just doesn't reach just locally, but the regional and even global. HR systems, right? A lot of them are still Excel spreadsheet. The taxation is a bit messy at the end of the year. So a lot of tools out there, a digital transaction. So I think get yourself, I would say, digitized, automated, make the most efficient use of, make the local business, transform it to a most efficient, optimize. Then you do well, the numbers come in, and then of course talk to banks and everything, have that bank support. Then you're ready to go overseas. Now, having said that, if you're going overseas, like my colleague Zul has mentioned, we do have very strong presence in 10 ASEAN countries, right? So that's the nice thing about Maybank. I think in Singapore, maybe with such a few local banks, I think we are maybe the strongest in terms of presence in all 10 ASEAN countries, even more so than the local banks here. So we can help. We have my SME colleague over there. I can give a call to Cambodia, to Philippines, say, hey, guy, can you help my client? This is what we can do. There are a lot of schemes as well from Enterprise Singapore to help local companies internationalize. Go to the website. I think there are a lot of stuff there. Banks will facilitate. So whether it's but normally it's the mid to larger size companies that internationalize. Now, the last and third point is that because of the digital marketing perspective, the way payments are received and made, it is very easy for even a person sitting at home, running a small business to kind of sell things all over the world, right? You have seen in the great e-commerce space, right? So this is where I think the payment systems of the world, the banks of the world, and can help with that platform that we have already built. So yes and no. The answer to your question is that it's easy to internationalize. You can sell anything to Europe and America and the Middle East, no issue, right? Even Africa, right? At the same time, if you want to scale up, that's another whole question altogether, which should be tackled in a more detailed fashion. Yeah.
Let me add on the one that you talked just now. It's a lot. ESG always tell us to go overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah, say go, just go overseas. Yes, I will give you grant. You give it. But if you like something, okay, we put like as example as China. Last time nobody know about bubble tea. Nobody knows. But where does the bubble tea come from? It comes from China. China makes this bubble tea. They make that bubble tea very popular in their home ground first. Like so big, really big. Then they go overseas. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to grow overseas, make sure your product that is in Singapore stabilize first, solid. Let everybody knows about your product. If it doesn't matter, it's my nasi lemak, chicken rice or roja or what. Make sure that it's really everybody. Make sure that everybody, when they say, "Hey, I want to eat burger," what do you think about McDonald's? I want to eat chicken. What do you think about?
Yes.
They never say KFC. I want to eat chicken. They straight away go to KFC. I want to eat burger. They don't say I want to eat burger Ramly or what. They just say I want to eat burger or eat. You know this. They will say, the kids will say, I want to go McDonald's. That mentality, we must have that mentality in the locals. Which we are lucky now that the kids nowadays, I heard, I want to eat Crave. They don't say nasi lemak. So this is the mentality we must have, that thing, that to grow that in Singapore, that once you have that kind of base, then you can go overseas with a peace of mind.
Well, to your point, Dr. Malik, you're right, no? If my wife order a delivery, nasi lemak, there's only one name, no? Che, your name,
Yeah,
seriously.
that's right. Thank you.
Every delivery of nasi lemak also Crave. I say, hey, nothing else, What Crave? Standard are you, It's like I want nasi lemak delivery. It's Crave. So it's standard. It's
a mentality.
Yeah. So for that, I'm we are very impressed with your business. Thank you, sir, for bringing your business big and growing it in Singapore, and thank you for bringing wonderful food to my table in a convenient fashion. Thank you.
So here we can understand, like, not just financing is, as much as we say financing is really important, the strategic in marketing is also, like Dr. Malik has mentioned, like we need to make the mentality of the people like, okay, this is equal to this, then we are stable enough to move forward and be internationalized. Right? All right. So thank you so much, Mal. Thank you so much, Dr. Malik. Okay, let's move to another topic. Digitalization and sustainability. We actually have already touched a bit on this topic. So this is the two hot topic in Singapore. Actually, not in Singapore. Globally, when we talk about everything, digitalization, sustainability, these two comes together, right? So last year, 64% of SMEs were just starting their digitalization movement, whereas COVID has placed sustainability on the back seat as business try to survive. So Dr. Malik, what are your thoughts on both digitalization and sustainability for businesses? Have businesses you talk to focus on one over the other?
Okay, this is very interesting. I will always put myself as the old Malik, the hawker mindset, and the present one.
Okay.
The old one, we don't believe in digitalization, because we always believe that once we do digitalization, a lot of people knows our how much we earn, how much we're gonna, people will, that kind of mentality, So we always have one book, we just write down, okay, one day how much I earn, that kind of thing. So, but after I think before actually luckily we did this before COVID. We talked to Grab, and that time there's this what B something B. It's a delivery platform. We start with that Grab, and so once we do that, digitalization starts from there. Then we realize, actually it makes our life more easier. So we start moving from there slowly. In fact, from 1998, we didn't do the digital until the year of 2015, when we opened Crave. Then I realized, actually we should do all these things. So then to convince my family to do this also is a bit hard. So I think when we start digitalizing, when we started, actually it's all our life makes easier, and in fact our even our accounts, so we are using Zero now. So last time invoice is papers, write down everything there, sign and give. So but now we have our own invoice using Zero. We can do DO, we can do a lot of things. I tell you, digitalize is the main thing now to do it. Have to change the mindset. The mindset for all the F&B hawkers, the old hawkers to change, convert. Yeah.
So the digital industry is actually here to ease our life, to ease the industry that we have, right?
Correct. Yes, that's right.
So we need to utilize the digital industry that we have.
Whatever. In fact, the government is giving us grant. Take the money and do it. Why not?
I want to add on a bit to Dr. Malik's work. So when he has Zero as his financing at his accounting platform, right? It's easy because when for example it is end of the year, right? So it's easy for him to extract out the latest financial document, the latest financial numbers, right? So let's say he needs financing in January, for example, yeah. So December, and so it's easy. When press a few buttons, he can actually produce an interim statement, an interim financial, or ad hoc or prelim statement. Maybe it's not audited, maybe it needs to be audited, but never mind. If the persons that handle the accounting for you are correctly recording all the transactions, like the debit credits, right? So he would have a good snapshot of the business health of the company, whether last year was it profitable, by just within days of the year end. That's one point. Then this document, this information, coupled with the bank statements showing in and out of all the money, would make a very compelling case for any bank to advance financing. So this is the part that is, and this is the part that we are lacking in Singapore, because many companies, they don't digitize the accounting even. The bookkeeper comes in February for December, habis the time, and he needs money in January. How? Comes to me with the 1 year old financials. Yes, I can still do for him, but I cannot do the best for him. You know what I'm saying? Because he gives me a 1 year old, 1.5 year, 1 year old, financial journal, financial statements with the latest bank statements. So actually, let's say for example, he gives us $500,000, but because of the older statement, we only can give him maybe 300,000, right? We can still do business for him. But you have latest accounting, latest bank statements. I tell you, it's beautiful. Every bank will just, wow, this is what we want, because we are straightforward. Of course, you put there, this is interim, it's not audited yet, doesn't matter. We will want to have a snapshot. This is what we crave for. We crave for. What the fun, crave for in our entrepreneurs.
Yeah, you want to grow, better be transparent. Just open up. Just show whatever you earn, whatever you just open up. I think this is the very good thing to do in business in Singapore. That's what I always tell my mentees. Yeah.
Right. So thank you so much, Mr. Marc. Thank you so much, Dr. Malik. So to grow, it's to be transparent. So digitalization is here for us to help. Like Mr. Marc has actually explained his experience when he wants to talk to his clients and etc. So when someone comes with one old financial statement, it will give him this specific amount and etc. So yeah, the digital industry is here to help us, ease us, and make things easier for all of us. All right. So Mr. Marc, as the head of SME banking in Singapore, Maybank, like other banks, partners with Enterprise Singapore and Infocom Media Development Authority to assist businesses in their quest to digitalize. Could you share the value-added service Maybank provide to its client in offering their facilities?
So if you talk about the areas of digitalization, we are part of Enterprise Singapore's SME Start Digital. Yeah, so that's a little program that we take part in since its inception about 3 years ago. So with that, with the website meeting, Singapore Start Digital has got six modules of digitalization that we kind of be able to subsidize. So I think it's 2 out of 6 products. As long as you sign up and use 2 out of 6 of the digital tools, what happens is the bank will subsidize you up to, depend on the bank. So our bank has programs from 12 to 18 months of full subsidy. Yeah. So we're talking about, like just now, we talk about digital accounting, which we have on board partners like Zero and Financial, digital marketing, transaction, cybersecurity, right, and so on and so forth. So this is what we do as part of our little effort to help SMEs digitize. But of course, within the Maybank space, our own internal tools, right? Like I mentioned earlier on, we have our internet banking. So business internet banking, many banks call it a different name. Some call it Velocity. Ours is a simple BIB, business internet banking. We have all the tools, right? You're able to, once you receive payment, you're able to check real-time online, real-time, debit and credit entries. So it's very powerful. And it's on the go. Your laptop goes to you everywhere, right? Even you are traveling, you are on holiday, you can just plug on and say, I want to check whether the money coming in or not. Press the button, and and check. And the thing is that we are actually on a major overhaul exercise to bring a lot more services. Actually, I'm hoping to launch it this year, but if not, latest will be next year. We'll launch it a re-platform of our internet banking. So whereby we'll launch the app. That means with a handphone, you can approve the payroll anywhere in the world, right? So this is going to happen. So there's a few more things, okay? And in terms of digital, Q4, there'll be a nice surprise in the market in terms of financing on the digital scheme that Maybank is going to offer. One of a kind in the market. We've launched it successfully in Malaysia. Hoping to roll it in Singapore. It'll be very exciting. At least I hope that it's going to be exciting. Okay, and it'll be a very, very simple process of how SMEs with certain track record, I think up to a year track record, can access digitally to financing. So by the grace of God, this will launch in Q4 and make a little bit of a further advancement of Maybank Singapore into the world of SME financing. Make it very convenient, very easy to help even more SMEs next 3 to 6 months.
Right, thank you so much, Mr. Marc. All right, next, Mr. Zul. As head of Islamic banking in Singapore for Maybank, you have led several financing and investments which inculcate sustainability. Since Islamic finance aligns very much to sustainability, would we expect sustainability-linked SME loans in the future, since MAS has extended a facility for ESG loans back in 2020 to financial institutions?
Yep. It's a hot topic now, sustainability. Everyone talks about customer, clients' demand for us to do better in our solutions, right? But it is a multi-tier initiative. It requires time and has to be gradual and implemental. We have to really ask ourselves questions whether are we doing the right thing at the right place at the right time, you see. Because we try to avoid greenwashing. We try to avoid manipulation just to leverage on the branding. So we have done quite a few. And in fact, Maybank Group as a whole, we have committed and we have announced to public that we will try to record 50 billion green and sustainability linked facilities that include both conventional Islamic facilities for all type of facilities, either loan, financing, deposit, investment, and other services as well. We are on track, and which I hope that we can further accelerate and reach our target much higher than the targeted time frame. Now, to your question, SME green or sustainability facilities, we are cooking something like which Marc mentioned earlier that more or less has some relation to the one of the pillars of 17 SGB sustainability and at the same time also we are cooking something for placement that relate to the social impact. I mean, I'm not in a position and not able to announce now, but definitely we will reach to IFSG when the product and the solution is ready. Marc, you want to add on this part?
Yes, please, Zol. Thanks. So right now, just to give a broader picture, we already have launched last year, right? Green financing products for the consumer side, housing loan. We have launched renovation loan. We have launched that. So that's very unique. Renovation loan won't have green financing. Yeah, we have. We have, of course, been a traditional strong player in the car loan market. The vehicles, right? So vehicle loans. We are also we have schemes for the hybrids as well as the e-cars, e-vehicles. We are trying to move in strongly with the commercial vehicles, not our delivery trucks, right? The vans and everything. The e-vans are coming in fast and furious. So we're looking into the area as well. Our team from Auto Finance are very active. So we are financing. We're starting to finance all the e-commercial vehicles. On the SME space, if all goes well, Q2, we launch the commercial industrial property financing green theme. Okay, and I think there's also we have just spoken to Enterprise Singapore. We just spoke with in fact just a few days ago we had lunch, and we are and Maybank has expressed our interest to want to participate in Enterprise Singapore's efforts now. So, but we have to get our structure first, everything. So we just got clarity recently, so we are trying to work this out in terms of participating with Enterprise Singapore in their programs. Now, right now, even if before I have anything official that I've launched for green financing, but the thing is that the fact of the matter is that, I mean, those are branding, right? So those are marketing, but we actually do already support many entrepreneurs who are very so that are very deep into the sustainable journey. I don't know. I want maybe to mention one or two examples if I may. For example, with our friends from Kawabanga, the Kids Tree House, right? We met them through the Friends for Good movement with Suliani and Taufik. Yeah, correct. These two, right? Yeah, really nice. Eco-centric learning. Eco environment. They are bringing kids out onto the gardens, to the greens, to the nature parks, right? To teach them about pollution, about how to grow trees, how to sustain the environment, and so I liked it very much. So we are their supporter too. We work with them as their banker, right? With Amazonia, with Raj. I've been to his office in Woodlands. Oh, the office, guys, incredible. All green, no. Actually, it's not green painting. The plants, no. Every single inch of the wall and the ground is green with plants. I'm like, what's going on here? And the best part is he put music of the birds, no. Alamak, jungle, no? So nice. And now recently I got him to do my garden as well, my little patch of garden I have in my house. So I like it so much. Green walls, green balconies, green buildings, green rooftops, right? Urban green, love it. We got another client that we have been supporting the last year and a half very strongly. Ebenezer, right? It started as a marine offshore services company, then moved into precision manufacturing, right? And then now they move into logistics. And then the best part is they move into solar panels, the green. I've been to Lawrence's office, his factory over in the extreme west. It's nuts. The whole roof is solar panels. So I stepped on it. I so scared. I fall on the roof. I asked him, hey, brother, your roof, the panel heavy. So the whole roof is panel of solar panels. But he said, don't worry, because his pillars that hold the panel, as well as its base, right, are all customized. It's aluminium, which is lightweight. So anybody who is operating a factory or even a building, right, can put the panel because of the heaviness is not on the panel, it's on the pillars that hold the panel, right? He has it the whole roof, and the best part is this paneling that he has on his roof now powers 80% of his factory. It's nuts. He's saving so much electricity, and the best part is he told his directors, his key person, I want you all to drive EV save the environment. Let's go on. And now I saw the cars myself. I think 3-4 cars EV, and then they drive in a park. Then guess what? The charger is charged by solar panel. So literally no petrol. Wow! I said, whoa, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then we've got I've been to his home place, but his aircon. He said he's an inverter aircon. That one we need some money now. It's 5 ticks, so that one needs some money. He has a recycling campaign with his staff. Let me see what else he has. And one space he's doing some urban farming within the factory to sell vegetables. Singapore has the 30 for 30, right? The 30% by 2030, 30% of food must come from Singapore. Yeah. So I really applaud him. And he's grown with us, and his logistic business, he also want to buy events. So guys, this guy, he is really, really more advanced in his sustainability practices, not just as a business, but not just for his staff, but as a business. So love it. We're going out to support him. We want to kind of also bring him as a shining example. So we are working with people already in the area. I don't have nice branding, green loan. No, I don't have, but we are giving the needed capital, the needed services for him to grow. So happy to be proud, need to be associated with all these wonderful entrepreneurs who are sustainable and green all the way. So yeah, thanks.
Right. Thank you.
Next week, copy.
No problem, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mark, for the amazing sharing that you have just shared with us about the growth of our entrepreneurs, about ESG and etc. So let's move on to our questions. We have a lot of questions from our audience here today. So let's start with the first one. Maybe Mr. Mark or Mr. Zul can take this first question. What makes a good business from bank's perspective?
You take,
You go ahead.
I go ahead. What makes a good business? I think I expounded really. Now I want to just share with you what we look for. There's some basic criteria really on top of what Dr. Malik and Zul has shared. Now really, we go back to a very boring textbook concept called the 5 C's of credit. The 5 C's. Character, quickly character, capital, capacity, conditions, collateral. Now character, really we look at the ability of the business and as well as the key person. In SME, okay, we talk about SMEs, right? SMEs really is not really what the company wants. It's about the key man. Because the business is not big. If you talk about MNC, a listed company, yes, it's a corporation run professionally. But for a small to medium business, most of the key men are still within the company, the founders, right? We call it the founding people. Dr. Malik, for example, without Dr. Malik, it would be a different Crave altogether, right? So we want the key man. How good is the key man's track record in terms of his own personal payments? Those are very, very important. All right, his bank payments. So track record, very, very important. We look at it. That's why I say get yourself engaged with the bank, whether it's personal credit card or a personal loan or even banking facilities. If you can apply, do not say no. I'm only I'm starting out. I got my first paycheck. I'm first year business, first year working. I do not want any credit. No, you have to apply credit as soon as you can because set yourself a nice track record. If you talk about countries like the US and even Europe, right, their FICO scores, FICO, right, they need to register a FICO score as soon as possible. With a FICO score in those countries, you can get facilities when you're an entrepreneur. So in Singapore, it's a credit bureau, CBES, credit bureau, enhanced search, credit bureau scores. A credit bureau is so important. Every bank looks at it. In fact, I would say this, it is the single most important, heaviest component in any credit assessment, whether it's SME loans or personal loans. Your credit scores, your CBES scores is the most important. Right? So of course, next one will be your commitment, the capital. Right? If it's a $1 company, you're asking the bank to give you 1 million. Susah lah, very hard lah. How can your commitment is actually $1, $10, ask me to give 1 million, my credit will just say, Mark, what is happening here? The bank's more commitment than the entrepreneur. Cannot lah, right? So please, if you are serious about your business, do not put $1 capital. Cannot. As the business grow, you put a bit more. Put in. I love Dr. Malik's story. What happens that at the beginning maybe the capital wasn't big, but what happens is you retain his earnings to grow, right? So whether it's additional capital injection, all right, or you capitalize the director's loans or retain earnings, then you can see the net worth of the company growing very nicely. We are very, very particular about company's net worth. If your net worth is 10,000, you want to borrow 1.5 million, very hard lah. Because you're not committed. You're taking out money all the time, dividend, right?
Yeah.
Then how can I be giving you cash flow? Next one, capacity cash flow. The bank statements. I said, don't keep the money in your drawer. So I love that. That's why I love the e-payments in and out. You don't have to think about it. Don't have to put the money in the drawer and then one stash of cash at home. But then it's $500,000 of sales unrecorded every month. Cannot like that. How to give you loan, right? So that doesn't reflect truly your business size. So have the good records of keeping the money in the bank. Doesn't matter Maybank or any bank. Keep more than maybe one or two banks, 3 banks. Keep it there. And the conditions as well. Of course, the 4th C. Conditions is about how how this, for example, right now as we speak, during the COVID period, you say I want to start a boutique, a brick and mortar fashion boutique. It'll be very challenging, right? In town, for example, in town, because you know that the capacity in town, Raffles Place, only 50% people going back to work, right? So it's going to be not so practical. But I say I'll do a fashion boutique, but I have delivery services. I have got e-commerce. I do my shows every day. Yeah, that is another way of doing. We have a lot of companies that started to do e-commerce, selling stationeries, bags, food, even bubble tea. Dr. Malik say, to pair with the food. Yeah. If you recall, there's one time the bubble tea was there was no drinks. Remember, the bubble tea shop was closed for, I don't know, is it one or 2 months? I don't remember. So a lot of
during the CB period.
remember, right? Yeah, CB period, right? So the wonderful thing about some of these bubble teas, hey, let me go and partner with some actual food company. Then to deliver. I got a food company that was forced to close, but they bundle with the bubble tea, and because people miss the bubble tea, they buy the bubble tea. Then the food becomes secondary. Actually, the food is primary. Bubble tea is secondary, but they buy the bubble tea. But no choice, is a bundle, right? So and so the sales went up.
New concept, if I remember, during the CB period.
No different from McDonald's, Burger King, right?
Yeah.
And so what happened to be a side product become the main that pulled the whole business to survive over that circuit breaker. So very good concept, and I love the concept Dr. Malik talked about his ambitions to do the central kitchen and everything. That's a major thing that we want to sponsor as well. We want to help to finance as well. It's wonderful. We have done some with some the Muslim companies as well, the halal companies. So we want to do more of this. We think it's a wonderful concept, very efficient. And lastly, a collateral. That's why I said not everything is collateral, right? So if you have something, we give you a bit more lines. If you don't have nothing, we look at what you have. And so of course, most entrepreneurs are expected to sign on the dotted line for a personal guarantee. Okay, then some ask Mark, but why must personal guarantee? It is not that we want to go after you, whatever. We never think of that. The thing is, we want you to be committed to the business, very much like the first C, which is character or capital. If you put $1, I think you're not committed. If you don't want to sign as a guarantor, that means you're not committed. You want to travel anytime. So I just give you a 5-minute talk on what we think it makes a good business, and how attractive they are to any bank to work with. Yeah, thanks.
If I could add on, Iman, I think this is a very important point. Apart from the 5 C's Marc has explained in detail, we are not making things complex or complicated. Don't get us wrong. I want to address specific segment. Always say by always having the mentality that bank is always complex, difficult to lend money. Banking financial institution is a trust business. We can't afford to lose this. Trust business banking is all about managing risk. So some people in their business, they are very good in their business, but they don't look at other part. Perhaps maybe they don't have enough time. So we at the financial institution, we do have market risk expert. We do have credit risk expert. We do have the accounting expert. We do have business expert. Where we crack our head, we discuss internally every single sectors and specific to the account. When we are coming up with the 5 C's, especially the credit scoring, which is regardless conventional Islamic, is to ensure that every penny lent out to the customer will be paid back for them to continue growing. So trust business here, bank acting like a middleman where right pocket to left pocket. I am getting deposit money from Dr. Malik and you, Iman. I got to ensure that the money you put us with trust, that I have to lend and generate income in order for the bank to lend you back. What happens if I am able to pay you back? It's a collapse of the trust, right? It's a collapse of economy, right? So it is interrelated. So we are a trust partner. We are a middleman, ensuring that people that we are managing the wealth for the business to grow are meeting the standard that we set. I hope that could be helpful for certain people who still have misconception about why bank is so complex. We are not. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zul. Thank you so much, Mr. Marc. All right, because time is not on our side and we still have a lot of questions, maybe I could just read a few questions and then we can have last word at the same time. Maybe you can tap on the questions that we can't really, answer it individually, yeah? Is that okay with everyone? Okay, so there's a few questions like, should students go for entrepreneurship now, and how much should companies save, and how much should they invest in business? And some say if we fear to actually ask for funding in banks, okay, and like from what Dr. Malik has mentioned, okay, this the person that actually asked the question said that when we are doing rolling, okay, we fear of not having profit, and hence we fear about taking finance in banks. So these questions are still lingering in our audience mind. So with that, maybe we can tap these questions, and at the same time, last word from Dr. Malik, Mr. Marc, and Mr. Zul, please.
Okay, let me start first. About the rolling money of profit, it doesn't mean that when you roll your profit, you don't have pay. I make sure that I want them to have this perception of, when you do business, you must have your own pay. You must have your structure of your company properly. So you must have your monthly, your director fee, whatever, staff fee, whatever, you have that structure. So you can spend. You still can spend on your company, but profit is profit. So that profit part, you roll it. That's what I'm trying to say. If let's say this month you don't have profit, next month you don't have profit, the next month you have, then you must know you must have a 5-year plan. You must have a plan what is need to be done, and then the way you basically in business, you must know how to structure it properly, do it the right way. Don't do it as what Malay always say, is bidang terjun. No, I always see that a lot of people, they have this. They always tell me, okay, I have 100,000 with me now. I want to open a business. Can I open next month or not? It doesn't work that way in business. So I always tell people, you have this amount of money, you want to open a business, plan. It took us 6 months to 1 year to open one Crave outlet, the first Crave outlet. It's not like we just, because there's a fund from Peso side to us, but it took us 6 to 1 year to open one outlet. Then from there, then we open. Then once we have the right structure, then we open very fast. So do the right planning structure properly, and you get a better house. Yeah, if you don't have a good structure in a building, the building will drop. Yeah.
The fundamental needs to be solid and strong. If you want to grow higher and higher. All right, that's a very nice concept, Dr. Malik. It's like building a house. Your framework, your structure must be solid. Then we can grow high. Okay, that's great.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Dr. Malik. Thank you so much for that advice. Thank you. Next, maybe Mr. Zul or Mr. Marc.
The handsome guy first.
Yeah, go on. Let's look at you lah. I can offer this. Yeah, so those are valid concerns that was raised, right, with the forum. And I like those questions. Those are very real questions. When we have a startup business, right, I've got many friends in the fintech space as well. What we learn together, or even they also shared, it means that they're always raising funds. They're always raising capital. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a pre-seed, seed, Series A, B. So always be talking. That means what some of the entrepreneurs that I learned from the fintech space is that they're always talking to people. They're always meeting people every week, every other week, to talk about potentially putting money with the company, not investing in the company. So because you never know when the company's going to run out of cash, you never know when it's going to secure a big project, a big a commission for a job. So very much similar to a non-fintech, even a normal business. Every year, if you can, speak to your bankers about the renewal of the relationship, like Dr. Malik said, I saw what he said, and also the renewal of maybe the renewal and increase of your working capital lines, even though you don't need it. Because you don't need it at that point of time. I mean, sorry, I think that's the correct thing. Let's look at this. Many of the startups have between 3 to 6 months expenses, right? As cash flow. Which means that they can only tahan, or they can only take a shock of 3 to 6 months without revenue. Yes, after 6 months, what happened? So these are the things. Once you have gone through that stage, you are across 2 years, you have then be talking to your banker on a yearly basis. Each bank, and it's never good to have one bank only. Okay, my advice is anywhere from your SME level anywhere from 2 to 3 banks. I've got many customers. We are the main banker, we have their secondary banker, and I love it. In fact, if I look at that, if I see more bank statements, I'm happier, no? Which means that it's not I'm jealous. Oh, Lama, this guy go to UOB lah. No, I'm not. We are not, because I'm happy that he banks with another bank. He banks with another 2 banks, which means that it's a credible business. Which means that other banks also view his business as viable, and hence they are extending help. Okay, so that is the part here. Like I said before, there are many different vehicles of finance. Some are standby kind of lines, some are term loan kind of lines. And that's why if you run out of cash, like that's not this case of the rolling for some of the came in to roll, somehow business didn't come in as planned. That's where your buffer finance cash flows. The bank has an extra 100K for you, 200K for you, $500,000 for you. That is where you activate those funds to good use. Yeah, that's why cannot. I think of 1 year that they said no. You have to have more than what you think. People fail because of, I think 99% of the business fail. 90% fail. Yeah, planning and because of cash flow. They think they're enough, right? So that is the kind of thing. So like I said before, it's never to humble ourselves to learn from everybody around us, whether it's our peer, right, our fellow industry people, even the banks. Just talk and never stop talking, never stop discussing, never stop learning. And I think that's the financial quotient F2 that's very high among entrepreneurs. I've served many. I've got the privilege to serve many wonderful entrepreneurs, very successful at that. They never fail to keep on talking and networking and just, so they're always raising money. They're always talking to bankers. I love it. That's the way I'm learning from them. They are trying to leverage on what I have to offer. So it's nice, symbiotic, osmosis-like ecosystem. That is the thing that I think Dr. Malik will know as well, and Zul will share. It's about the ecosystem of business. It's not, 1-2 parties type of thing. Which Iman, you talk about this as well, right? Nice ecosystem you built, suppliers, buyers.
Everyone need to work together in order for this economy to be sustainable, more strong, and then we can move forward together.
Yeah. So ways, but yeah. So everything. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Marc. Very great advice for us this Saturday morning. Knowledge is power, and we need to keep asking, keep seeking, keep talking. Yes, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Marc. Next, Mr. Zul, maybe a bit more specific for your advice, right? To those, what would you like to say overall to the business and SMEs owners who are tuning in with us today?
Business ideas are cheap. Business ideas are cheap, but execution become expensive if you don't set discipline. One. So in order to do so, you have to have first the discipline in the financial management. Marc has longer experience than me, but throughout my personal experience dealing with small, micro, SMEs, commercial, corporates, and MNC client, financial management is crucial, it's vital. You really have to understand how to manage and grow money. And if you don't understand, this is where bankers will help you. That we will complement and add values in terms of the financial advisories. Second, in order for business to grow, it's all about people, because it's the people that run the organization. I think you have to select the right partner and the right talent that have the same ambition and aspiration as if they are also the owner of the company. Many entities, companies fail because the working level, they are just they don't have that mentality of business. So you have to bring the togetherness with the people around you, from the senior management to the lowest level. So they have a sense of ownership. They have a sense of pride of doing that business. Third point, it's all about networking. It's all about who you are and who you know. We cannot go within the same circle of friends or colleagues that we have. You have to be popular. You have to sell ice cream. You have to be likable. You have to be approachable, and you can then you learn. That we learn from one another. I hope that 3 points can give some tips what I learned to SMEs client. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zul. Thank you so much for the advice, financial management, and then the people, the organization, from partners to talent. And also we need to take care of our networking. After all, it comes back to what Dr. Malik said, relationship, we need to take care of it. All right. So thank you so much to all that tune in. We love the question that were asked. It added to our richness in our conversation, and we hope that we have answered the question and curiosity to our best ability. I believe there's a lot more that our speakers, okay, Dr. Malik, Mr. Zul, and Mr. Marc would like to share with us, but time is not on our side. Hence, do look out on IFSG Space for the next episode for More Than Just Money series, a series for anything that is Islamic finance related. So once again, thank you for tuning in and taking your time on this Saturday morning to listen to us and be engaged with us on what we are talking about. Have a great weekend, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.